One of the funniest things that people have been saying about Brad Lander, I don't want to give the game away too much, but a lot of people have been talking about how Brad Lander is a lib. And they're like, oh, Brad Lander is the perfect example of like what liberal leftist collaboration looks like. Yeah, those numbers are much larger when it comes to Democrats anyway. All right, let's hear what my Go Brad Lander had to say on CNN. I'm sorry, I'm confused. I have a learning disability. Okay.
Yesterday was really remarkable. You're right. There has been in New York, in some ways, ever since the pandemic.
I don't have a learning disability. I'm just stupid. So don't worry. You're in good company. I'm just a dumb guy.
And certainly since Trump's election, it's kind of a dark time. You got Trump in office. You have Eric Adams' corruption. You have Andrew Cuomo running this campaign like the city's in crisis. And meanwhile, Zohran Mamdani runs this very hopeful campaign. He and I then cross-endorsed in an unusual way that ranked choice voting makes possible. And people said, we love the idea of politics as more of a team sport for the future of our city than as the selfish politics that Andrew Cuomo and Eric Adams have played. And yesterday, voters all over came out in this really hopeful spirit that said, we want a New York City that everyone can afford and where everyone belongs. And I hope Democrats around the country are inspired by it.
There are certainly Democrats who will be looking at this and wondering what it could mean for them. I wonder if you think that should be Democratic Party leaders like New York Senator and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. What do you think he should be thinking about today?
Well, look, I mean, Zohran Mamdani has won the Democratic primary. You're right. We have to see the ranked choice tabulations, but Andrew Cuomo conceded. Everybody knows it. Democrats now should come together behind the Democratic nominee and, well, help him win in November.
Okay, and also you're aware, conservatives are seeing opportunity here. Actually, President Trump just posted about the race, and he said it's in part, it's finally happened. The Democrats have crossed the line. Zohran Mamdani, a 100% communist lunatic, has just won the Dem primary and is on his way to becoming mayor. As you know, of course, and we're noting here, there are more steps ahead of us here. But what is your response to that?
Well, first, I love that Zohran Mamdani is in Donald Trump's head. In that same tweet, Trump calls Senator Schumer a Palestinian. Like, they're going to lie whatever we do. What I think this election shows, what last night's election shows, is people are hungry for a hopeful vision, and they're hungry for fighters. I'll be honest. I don't think the line for the party right now is between progressives and moderates. I think it's between fighters and folders. People want someone who's going to go to bat for working people, paint a real vision of a city people could afford, fight for it, and get on the field. And that's what I think Zohran did. I was proud to be a part of that with our cross endorsement, and that's what I think Democrats need to do in New York City.
One of the funniest things that people have been saying about Brad Lander, I don't want to give the game away too much, but a lot of people have been talking about how Brad Lander is a lib. And they're like, oh, Brad Lander is the perfect example of like what liberal leftist collaboration looks like. Dog, he was an active DSA member until 2023. He still very clearly embodies a lot of the DSA message. He's not a lib. He's just a liberal Zionist. He was a dues-paying member of the DSA. And it's I think there was like a forward article that made it seem as though he left the DSA over October 7. I think that could have been a part of it. I'm not entirely certain as to what happened there, but he is not a liberal by the average American politician's opinions at all. AOC and Zohran yesterday for any chatters that said she was just bandwagoning. Yeah, I know. That's just so funny. He's just very lib-coded. He's very lib-passing. That's for sure. So I get why people are saying that. He is a dues-paying member to the Democratic Socialists of America until 2023. DSA New York City did post pictures of the Mario Kart paragliders, if I recall correctly. I don't know if they did that, but I'm shaking my head. I'm shaking my head. I'm shaking my head at that. I think you made that up. Yeah. This was Jacob Kornbluth. Part of the reason why everyone will fucking be like, hey, are you going to find what Zohran said? Are you going to find what a speech that Zohran made in second grade is because of this? Jacob Kornbluth has been the fucking hatchet man of all things New York City mayoral race related. He is responsible for a big chunk of the here's what Zohran said that was that I'm going to use as a way to say he's anti-Semitic. He has been fucking nutty, which is crazy because on its own, he is actually a pretty fucking solid, pretty reliable journalist. I've been a follower of Jacob Kornbluth since the 2020 lockdowns took place, where he, as I believe he's an Orthodox Jew, was almost murdered by his own community in New York for outing the Orthodox community of New York, not abiding by the lockdown and putting people's lives at risk. And they literally had, there was this one Orthodox radio show host that is a fucking psychopath, okay, who, no, this is not the tunnels, man. We're talking about 2020. No, in 2020, there was when the COVID shutdowns were happening. No. They literally almost murdered him, not figuratively. No, listen to my words, okay? In 2020, COVID shutdowns are happening. Orthodox Jews are not abiding by the lockdown restrictions, okay? Jacob Kornbluth is also an Orthodox Jew himself, finds out about this and writes an article about it, okay? In the aftermath of this, a bunch of these super MAGA, ultra-conservative Orthodox Jews, led by a MAGA booster, who I believe his name is Sid Rosenberg. Is that the guy? Led by like a shock jock, Orthodox shock jock, basically surrounded his apartment, okay? Surrounded his apartment, and there's a video over it. Like, it was crazy. Report of journalist being assaulted at demonstration. Yeah, journalist Jacob Kornbluth, national politics reporter for the Jewish Insider, told NY1 he's physically okay but still distraught and disappointed after being attacked Wednesday at a rally protesting the state's new coronavirus restrictions at Borough Park. But there's videos from his account at the time. I remember they brutally beat him up. They hit him in the head, kicked, and all this shit. But this is the crazy one. No, this isn't it either. That's not cool. An outdoor wedding at many participants in a cramped backyard is just as dangerous. No, this isn't it either. This isn't it either. That's the video. I remember seeing a video from outside of his apartment. Oh, this is it. I think this was it. Yeah. At Heshy's urging, it wasn't Sid Rosenberg, it was Heshy, this guy. At Heshy's urging, the crowd surrounded and attacked journalist Jacob Kornbluth. They pinned him against the wall and shouted, "Moisture, snitch," as the NYPD lost control of the situation. Really scary scene. Here's Heshy egging them on. He's lucky time to be alive, one of the protesters told me after. A few yards away, cops agreed to close more streets, joking around with the same men who just beat up a reporter. What is this? Zohran, be advised that if you globalize the Intifada, we will have to reluctantly globalize the Nakba. Peace advocate, by the way. Globalize the Nakba. What are you going to do, dude? File a fucking complaint? What are you going to do? What are you going to fucking do? Globalize the Nakba? Yeah? Like, I know this motherfucker is obviously engaging in genocidal rhetoric. Okay? It's a gross thing to say. But like, without American support, without unlimited Western support, what are you going to do? You're going to get me fired? Like, what? Mr. Peace Advocate. He's like, oh yeah, dude. Oh, you'll see. I'm going to globalize the Nakba. I'm going to write a letter to your manager. with the hopes that you get immediately fired? Is that what you're going to do? Excuse me, deplatform this person imminently. Make haste. Yeah, peace advocate with the beeper pager in his bio. I love that this comment brought out the Jersey Union. What the fuck are you going to do about it? I mean, it's true. What is he going to do? He can't do shit. If you reverse it and say it in the UK prison, oh, for sure. For sure. It's like a Nazi saying they want to globalize the Holocaust, by the way. Anyway, here's Jacob Kornbluh's article that some people say overstated why Brad Lander left NYDSA, New York City DSA. But according to his campaign, Lander did not seek the endorsement of New York City DSA. And New York City mayoral race update, Brad Lander stopped paying his dues to the DSA after October 7. Okay? Lander wasn't Cuomo's only target. He also singled out Assembly member Zohran Mamdani. Lander said at a press conference, "May an evil decree come upon him, a Yiddish curse." He implied that Cuomo was questioning his commitment to Israel as a Jew, comparing it to President Donald Trump's remarks last month about Chuck Schumer. Cuomo donor going to Zohran. Here's a fun thing that the top donor to Andrew Cuomo's super PAC just told me. As donors try to assess their next moves in the mayoral race, one of the biggest donors to Andrew Cuomo's super PAC, the investor Mark Gordon, said he's likely to back Mamdani. That is because of the support that Mamdani had gotten from Brad Lander, who Gordon said he ranked first. I feel like people misunderstood my $250,000 for Cuomo for real enthusiasm. What the? How much money does he have? He just dropped $250,000 without being enthusiastic about it. Gordon said in an interview, it was basically, oh, looks like Cuomo's coming back. We don't want to be shut out. Let's try and get it on his good side. That's kind of how things work with Cuomo. Is sad political pragmatism. I wish we lived in a world where those sorts of things were not useful things to do. God damn, dude. He said his light work, it ain't nothing to me. 250,000? A cool 250,000? He said, I don't even like him like that. That's crazy. Dude, I hate the way politics works in this goddamn country. That is crazy.
You were told by
Zohran stands with Palestine. Yeah, also Wall Street voted for socialism, which was crazy. Makes sense. He could fund candidates who would actually create campaign finance reform so that it becomes not useful to do those things. That's also true. All right. But yeah, what was I talking about? Oh, I was talking about Brad Lander. I think Brad Lander is he deserves his flowers in this process because in an overwhelmingly hostile primary where people did not shy away from attacking Zohran with unimaginably racist takes, just constantly calling him a anti-Semitic terrorist and all this shit. Brad Lander basically stood by his side and was like, nope, that's not the case. I'm Jewish. I'm the highest ranking Jewish New York politician in local office in New York City, inside of the city. And this man is not anti-Semitic. Okay? Brad Lander showed what Elizabeth Warren should have done in 2020, unify the progressives rather than trying to stab the progressive frontrunner in the back. And that's why I think a lot of people, including Greg Kazar and even AOC and many others, like Brad a lot, and we're not shy about endorsing him, including Greg, who endorsed him immediately, which I asked him, if you remember. New York Post reveals Andrew Cuomo to drop New York City mayoral bid after blistering primary defeat to Zohran Mamdani. Sources. Cuomo no more. Andrew Cuomo will drop out of the mayor's race after his humiliating defeat. Dude, New York Post is so funny. Yesterday, they were talking about Andrew Cuomo as the savior of New York against the terrifying Zohran Mamdani win, a potential Zohran Mamdani victory. Okay. And today they're immediately back to just shitting on him. Andrew Cuomo will drop out of the mayor's race after his humiliating defeat against socialist Zohran Mamdani, sources told the Post, as the ex-governor's donors and backers desert him and weigh whether to boost Eric Adams. Several insiders close to Cuomo camp said Wednesday that thrice-elected Democrat will almost certainly not run in the general election as an independent candidate, seeing no obvious path to victory. The understanding is he's not running. Every indication is that he doesn't want to do it, and the money wouldn't be there if he did want to do it, said one of the sources, a leader from a prominent union. Why does somebody give Unc a soundboard? Yeah, young black voters are the best youth demographic for Zohran, by the way. Look at that. This is what I was saying, okay? This is why I get so mad when I talk about the black boomer voting block. And even then, when I'm doing like demographic voter pattern analysis, people still chirp at me. And like the people who are chirping at me who are black are most likely in the Mamdani supporting block anyway. The white male performance is underwhelming. There's just a lot of them, okay? Something. Black folks don't rock with socialism like that. I know, exactly. Anyway, been teasing my mom about Gen X black people and their inability to keep up with the times as of late, and she's always defending them. After the New York mayoral election, she's finally agreeing. I'm a black Zoomer woman, by the way. Yeah, I mean, it's just, the reality of the matter is it's the most reliable voting bloc for the Democratic Party, and the Democratic Party uses and abuses this voting bloc in the primaries and basically weaponizes it against whoever they see as like a, even if they're a good candidate, the Democrats will use this machine, this turnout machine, to literally weaponize it against whichever candidate they want to destroy. And then they will cynically turn around and be like, it's because this person is racist. No, it's not because the person is racist. It's because you said the person was racist on television, or you found another reason. You said the person was unelectable. It's not even the racism that I think sways black voters as much, because like black voters, especially boomer black voters, know everyone's racist. It's more so unelectability. The fear that like if this person comes into power, that they're going to be a weaker candidate down the line, and then an even more racist Republican is going to end up winning the election. That's what it is. Older black voters especially are particularly defensive voters. It's the one group of voters that unironically does engage in defensive voting. Okay? That's it. That's not the hood, though. The hood not rocking with Zohran for real. I live in a studio in Bushwick, and I'm from Iowa, but I'm really tapped in with the hood vote, bro, for real. They're all voting Adams. Trust me, it doesn't matter. I've never been above 86th Street in Manhattan. I'm tapped in with the hood, bro. Yeah. He's not rocking with us, so we're not rocking with them. Wouldn't it be good if Cuomo stayed in to split the right wing and centrist vote between Cuomo, Adams, and Silva? Probably not. Zohran, Fox News is Zohran, free Zohran propaganda. I have seen it.
And his views are staunch.
It's amazing. The way Fox News is covering Zohran is so awesome. Where they'll just like literally write out what his campaign policies are. And it's so dope because you look like a cartoon villain standing in opposition to like half the shit he wants to do, which is like free school lunch. You know what I mean? They'll be like, this radical wants to give free school lunches to children. He wants to feed the poor.
Staunchly anti-Israel. If he wins the general election, Mamdani would be the most left-wing person to ever serve as a mayor of any city in the United States.
Bernie Sanders, Burlington. Mayor of Burlington, Vermont.
His views are far closer to communism than Clintonism. This guy makes AOC.
Wait, make that distinction. I thought Hillary Clinton was a commie. What the? Wait, I thought CNN was Clinton News Network or Communist News Network. How come you make a distinction between Clintonism and communism now? What happened? Damn, all of a sudden, these know the difference. That's so crazy. Oh, look at that. Overton window shifts slightly in the direction. Overton window shifts slightly in the direction of socialism, and they immediately snap to a more reasonable position. All of a sudden, they are reminded that maybe Nancy Pelosi isn't so bad. Maybe Nancy Pelosi actually is a reasonable moderate. All it took was for this dude to win the goddamn primary. They call Joe Biden a communist every day of the week. I'm willing to bet they'll go so far as say AOC is moderate. She even basically started inferring that AOC is actually a reasonable moderate. This is the reason why it's good to run radical candidates, okay? This is how you pull the Republican Party and the Overton window back. This is how you pull the Overton window to a more reasonable position. You are snapping them back into reality by force. It's not enough. But the inverse of this has been true for the past 3 decades, okay? Because the Democrats have constantly caved and capitulated to the radical positions of the increasingly further right Republican Party, and therefore the Overton window is slammed firmly in the far right now. One socialist mayor, successful mayoral primary candidacy later, immediately these guys are like, well, Nancy Pelosi's got some good ideas. I mean, AOC's got some good ideas. Matt Taibbi, oh no, don't show me this. God, Matt Taibbi's absolutely washed. Et voila, New York City's mayoral race has been won by Zohran Mamdani, no Bernie Sanders style imitator, but the real thing. Son of famed socialist scholar, Marvel superhero to every Jacobin reader, keffiyeh wearing student activist huddled in Judean People's Front type confabs between bell hooks readings and visits to mom and dad on the Upper West Side. In this country, it's the colleges used to subtly pull students back from this ledge before graduation so as not to freak out actual tuition payers. But now the parents are socialists leading here. Anyone tempted to laugh shouldn't. This is the flip side of Trumpism, inevitable for similar reasons, and absent full catastrophe and coming Mamdani ruled Gotham not impossible. God, he sucks so bad. I don't know how he became this person. Ugh, I don't even want to. Matt Taibbi makes me so sad. I don't want to see it. At least Glenn still has like redeemable positions. You know what I mean? But Matt is gone, dude.
He looked like a moderate. He wants government-run grocery stores, plans to make public buses free, is pledging to freeze rent prices, and wants to borrow $70 billion for more affordable housing. Now, in the past, he's called to defund the police, to ban all.
Okay, that sounds great so far.
All guns, create safe injection sites for drug use, and
he drank the anti-trans dog shit. No, he's a Me Too victim, dude. And by that, I mean, like, he had credible accusations of sexual harassment, if I recall correctly, and that bricked his brain. That's when he insta-hit the right-wing grift. That's what it was. He was such a great journalist, too. It's crazy. Matt Taibbi was, I hate to admit this, but again, one of my idols, okay? Matt Taibbi was one of my idols. I used to listen to his podcast with Alex Perrine called the Tarfu Report. Alex Perrine is also a brilliant writer, and they were fantastic. And then he just went insane. He went insane. I mean, but then again, so was Glenn Greenwald. And I think like the only person that remains from that three journalists that I really looked up to, one I have the honor of calling a peer, a colleague, Jeremy Scahill. Glenn Greenwald is also gone off the deep end in many respects. I wonder what Alex Perrine is up to. He was an awesome writer. I haven't really seen much from him at all. Is he still on Twitter? Holy shit. He left Twitter like 2023. Why Glenn Greenwald? Glenn's all right. He has principles he holds, even if it puts him in odd places. I think he's been speaking highly of Mamdani from what I've seen. No, the reasons why I think Glenn Greenwald went off the rails is because it was other shit. It wasn't like he just has like way too much patience for like reactionary Republicans. Glenn Greenwald has he does this thing. Glenn Greenwald does this thing where he's deeply cynical of the Democrats and resentful of the Democrats for understandable reasons, which I agree with, right? Because I'm cynical and resentful of the Democrats for the same reasons. But then he'll turn around and never apply that same level of skepticism on a lot of issues to the Republican Party. And that's crazy to me because, like, I despise the Democrats because of their closeness to the Republican Party in a lot of policies. I want them to be in opposition to the Republicans. My anger and resentment towards the Democrats doesn't mean under any circumstances will I ever turn around and say the Republicans are doing great. They're actually fantastic. They're like an earnestly anti-war party. Like they're not. They never have been. They are insanely racist. They're even more racist than the Democrats are. Democrats are pussies. Republicans are assholes. There are a lot of people who I think like kind of lose their minds after like developing deep resentment towards the Democrats. And then they end up finding themselves on like, they end up finding themselves in this weird place. This weird place where they're closer to the Republicans on some issues, and it's unacceptable.
Decriminalize sex work. Oh, and end all cooperation with ICE. That's a given. He's even too much for the New York Times. Well, typical of Gen Xers, Mamdani has replaced thinking with feeling, and he won big among the young vote. And he feels that New Yorkers should be guaranteed just all sorts of freebies. How to pay for this?
Yeah, I'm surprised how this type of messaging won.
Crisis, and it's called halalflation. Today, we're going to get to the bottom of this. How much does a plate of halal cost right now from this truck?
$10.
$10. Chicken over rice, lamb over rice, $10.
$10?
Yeah.
When you're a street vendor, you have to pay for the food, the plates. How much do you have to pay for your permit?
Before it was 22K.
17,000.
How much does a license cost if you get it from the city?
I think 400.
And who are you paying?
The permit owner.
You're not paying the city.
No.
You pay the permit owner $22,000 just so you can sell this food.
Yes.
And who is this?
A random guy.
Have you ever applied for a permit?
Yeah, I'm applied and no come anything.
It's long wait. Number 3,800 something. And
After 2 years, you're number 3,800.
yes.
These are the 4 bills that are sitting in the city council right now, which would give these vendors their own permits and make your halal more affordable. But Eric Adams hasn't said a single word about them. If you own the permit, then how much would you charge for the plate?
$7.
$8.
$8.
Would you rather pay $10 for a plate of halal or $8?
I think $8 is the way to go.
If I was the mayor, I'd be working with city council from day one to make halal $8 again.
So, how does it taste?
Tastes like $10, but it should be 8.
Yeah. Simple message, baby. Simple fucking message. All right, let's get to Mr. Kaki Kernacki, even though he had some interesting things to say about Zohran that I didn't like.
With the vision of a city that every New Yorker could afford.
Defeat after Tuesday's stunning result in New York City's Democratic mayoral primary. Mamdani, a 33-year-old Democratic socialist, centered his campaign on progressive policies like universal child care and free city buses. His largely grassroots campaign was powered by small dollar donations and a savvy social media presence that included viral videos featuring progressive politicians and pop culture celebrities. Cuomo, meanwhile, ran a more traditional campaign backed by big-name endorsements like former President Bill Clinton and a heavy rotation of TV ads. But controversy and scandal from his time as governor hung large over his candidacy. The result has Democrats around the country wondering what Mamdani's victory really says about the state and the future of the Democratic Party. Here to dive into the numbers behind Mamdani's historic night is NBC News national political correspondent Steve Kornacki, who is where else at the big board. So, Steve, how did he pull off this earthquake?
Yeah, Kristen, I mean, some really interesting numbers here when you take a look inside New York City. First of all, see the overall results here so far. Still some votes to be tabulated here. This won't be official for another week, but as you say, Cuomo's already conceded because, look, Cuomo felt he needed to be ahead after this initial account. They've got that ranked choice system in New York. It was pretty clear that a lot of these other candidates who weren't really in contention when their votes got reallocated in ranked choice, a lot of them had been saying to their voters, if you don't vote for me, vote for Mamdani. So the question was, could Cuomo get far enough ahead last night to withstand that? He didn't even get ahead last night. So that's why this kind of became a foregone conclusion here. We'll break this down now into some of the neighborhoods, though, because I think that's where you really start to see this. Age. You heard Cuomo cite that young voters he said Mamdani had brought out done well with. Here's a tale of 2 neighborhoods in New York City. This right here, Bay Terrace in Queens. This is the highest median age of any neighborhood in New York City. And look what happened here. The oldest voters, that was Cuomo's base here in this primary. He won by a better than 2-to-1 margin over Mamdani. Take a look now. Morningside Heights. This is up by Columbia University. This is the youngest median age of any neighborhood in New York City. And look what happened here. Mamdani won it. He won it overwhelmingly. Better than 2-to-1 against Cuomo. In fact, Cuomo came in 3rd place in this neighborhood. So that's a pattern you saw. The younger areas were big areas for Mamdani. Also, this is a big divide we talk about in American politics, and it's big in the Democratic Party. The education divide. Mamdani doing so much better with voters who had college degrees, or look at this one, advanced degrees. That is a graduate degree or more. Almost half of the people, the adults in Park Slope, Brooklyn, have at least a graduate degree. And look at this, Mamdani.
Holy Park Slope, Brooklyn. That's crazy.
Got almost half the vote there. Cuomo barely registered, only 13%. A third candidate here, Brad Lander, got 34%. Other end of the education spectrum, more blue collar, working class, no college degree. Almost 90% of the folks in Fordham Heights have no college degree. Look at this. Cuomo, again, a landslide for Cuomo there. Nearly 60% of the vote, the education divide. And then, of course, we look at among non-white voters here. I thought this is interesting because key core traditional part of the Democratic Party base has been black voters. This neighborhood in Queens, 84% of the adult population is black. And Mario Cuomo, listen to me, Andrew Cuomo wins overwhelmingly against Mamdani. But Cuomo did not run up similar numbers among Latino voters and Asian American voters. Taking a look here in Corona, Queens, highest Latino population, a share of the population. Look at this. It was almost a tie here. Cuomo narrowly winning. Cuomo's folks had been hoping, his campaign had been banking on some.
Bro, this is crazy. 61% of Laurelton, Queens, the neighborhood of black voters voted for Andrew Cuomo. That is a machine, dude. That is a turnout machine. Thank God it didn't work in this instance, but holy dude, holy shit. Older voters in general are so predisposed to just like the stability pick. It's just a small neighborhood, doesn't matter. I mean, it bears itself out across multiple neighborhoods. It's not like just one. Like I'm willing to bet the overwhelming majority, like the majority of the younger black vote, like the youth black vote, went to Zohran Mamdani, whereas the margins are so much higher for Cuomo when you get to the older
something
black
much
vote.
Bigger than that here. Asian American, highest concentration, Flushing, Queens, basically a tie right there as well. So that is those two groups, the Latinos, Asian Americans, early in the campaign, the Cuomo people thought that was something of a firewall. That didn't hold up for them last night, and that was a very big key in.
Mamdani did lose out overall in the black vote, but it's only 18 plus, 7 points below what Cuomo was expecting. Yeah, because of the youth vote. That's what I'm saying. It's because of the fucking youth vote, man. That's what it is. Zohran's coalition ended up more on the Trump curious voter side of things. Obviously, he brought the roof down with transplants, but outside of them, he was specifically strong with our trending demos, Asians, Latinos, and weaker with the ones D's held up, Jewish plus black voters. Zohran's coalition rocks because you can simultaneously frame it as one consisting of demos other Dems do poorly with, but also their declining insular Brahmin base, as he said before. High education voters, wealthy voters, high propensity voters. Yeah, there's like Trump AOC voters out there.
Besties, are we really sure we want to vote for the communist jihadi? Have we thought this one through? Because I don't think we've thought this one through, because if you did, you probably would have done your research, and your research probably would have showed you that this has been tried and failed in cities such as San Francisco, where the once real changes they saw once elected.
Communist jihadis took over San Francisco? When the fuck did that happen?
Was violent criminals flocking to their streets as their money flew out.
Shut the fuck up, loser. All right, that's all that's all the airtime I'm willing to give to that. I don't know who sent that to me, but the video has 700 likes. Not worth it. Eric Adams went on Fox and Friends to call Zohran Mamdani a snake oil salesman.
For your first response to that stunning news, Governor Cuomo is not going to be.
Bro, New York, this is what I worry about, okay? A tremendous amount of backing for Eric Adams coming from the New York Republican Party. And then the establishment Democrats also, they won't go for Adams, but like I am worried that the Democratic Party, instead of using the machine to unseat Adams will go against Zohran somehow, and then there will be some issues. You know what I mean? Because like it's clear that the Republicans have been pushing for Adams because he is their weapon, right? He is their guy. He already has a DOJ case. They dropped the DOJ case for a quid pro quo. He is basically Trump's loyal servant. This is what I'm worried about in the general.
Mayor Cuomo.
Well, first, it's not stunning to me, and I was very clear. And I'm still a Democrat. I'm running on an independent line, which the policy in the law allows me to do. You had one candidate that was running away from his record. You had another candidate with no record, and you have Eric Adams with a record. I delivered for the city, and we're not going backwards. We're not going into a place where we want to defund the police, don't invest in jobs, where we believe we can make broken promise deliver. I delivered on every promise I gave to
Mr. Mayor, it's not just defund the police. This candidate, Democratic Socialist, he wants to freeze the rent. He wants city-run grocery stores, social workers to replace the police because that's going to help. He wants $60 billion of debt fund for affordable housing. He wants free buses, no cost for childcare, baby baskets for newborn, and a $30 minimum wage. How can someone vote for this?
He's a snake oil salesman.
Mm-hmm.
He will say and do anything to get elected. Think about this for a moment. He wants to raise 1%. He wants to raise tax on 1% of New Yorkers' high-income earners. As the mayor, you don't have the authority to do that. You know who has the authority to do that? An assemblyman, which he is. He wants to do free buses. He could have done it at assemblyman. He doesn't understand the power of government and how you must making sure you improve your economy, raise the standard of living. And this is what we've done in the city. And I'm looking forward to being on the campaign trail and showing New Yorkers we can't go backwards. And New Yorkers never surrender or quit. I'm never going to quit for the city that I love.
That is...
Bro, I hate him so much as a politician, but I can listen to him speak for hours, dude. He is such an interesting man. Like, I don't know how to describe it. He's so funny. He's so silly. like he is the closest we can get to like a cartoon of a corrupt, silly, polyamorous mayor who lies as a sport. He really is Democratic Trump. Like, that's not a joke. He really is the Democratic Party's Trump. It's so stupid. He lies all the time. He lies about being vegan. Like, he lies about the silliest shit. Look at his face. He knows he's lying. It's not like he doesn't know. He knows he's lying. Careful, you'll turn into what we do. Stay focused. No distractions and grind.
So interesting. You're in the position, so you know you don't have the authority to do that. Yet he's running on all these promises he's not going to be able to fulfill. And New Yorkers are buying it. Now, Cuomo did say he hasn't ruled out whether or not he's going to run as an independent, which means he would be on your ticket. He would run against you. How would that affect your race in the field?
Turks are getting mad. Erik Adem hakkında düzgün konuş. Kardeş, unutmayın. Biz de Türk'üz. Biz Zohran'ın arkasındayız. Türkler hala masada. New York bizimdir. New York bizimdir. Unutmayın. Birader. Unutma. Ben gittim. Konuştum Zohran'la. Hala masadayız. I'm telling the Turks not to worry. We are still at the table. I went and I talked to Zohran personally.
I've said this over and over again. People know me by saying three things: stay focused, no distractions, and grind. That's what everyday New Yorkers do. I'm a working class mayor. I'm probably the first working class union card carrying mayor in the history of this city. You know, Andrew at this time should realize that the time has moved on. He just did not bring the energy of wanting to be mayor. And New Yorkers, they have this smell test. They know, do you want the job? You can't come out on weekends, go to a black church, go eat fried chicken, and all of a sudden saying that I have the black vote, I have the working class people vote. It's just not the reality. People know if you want the job. He didn't want the job.
What has your phone been like since Mamdani won, who's a BDS guy? He is anti-Semitic. He's anti-Israel. He's going to arrest Prime Minister Netanyahu if he comes to city. So now, all of a sudden, Eric Adams, you might be the only thing with Curtis Sliwa, him for becoming the next mayor. What has it been like since the results have basically been all but official?
A lot of communications. I think I slept an hour and a half because the phone was going off all night. People understand this moment.
Coming back to you?
In a combination, a lot of people didn't leave. I was not in the primary. They said, Eric, we're going to sit.
Zohran Mamdani,
we're going to endorse in the primary.
From last night,
let's have another conversation during the general. So there was a lot of people who stated that you're not in the primary. We want to make sure that this candidate does not win. And so now you have almost 1 million independent voters. You have many Democrats.
He got 423,000 votes in the primary.
Was that what is that percentage like? Would we have good turnout? Because we had 100-degree temperatures yesterday.
Yes, and that's a factor always. But if people are committed to you,
Eric Adams has no charisma. You're fucking insane. I don't know what it is about him. He is such a fucking shark. But every time he speaks, I'm in awe. Eric Adams speaks like the never let him know your next move meme, okay? I have no fucking clue what he is about to say. Like, he has so many amazing moments, dude. He has so many amazing moments. Yeah, peak New York City unk, okay? He has tremendous aura, I think. I personally think he has hella aura. I also think he's a horrible mayor and a cop. He has cult leader charisma. Like, it doesn't work at all on 85% of the populace, but the people who it does work on are 100% enthralled like literal bots. Please show the chatter this clip again.
Knows that New York City is the Athens of America. It's the Istanbul of America. It's the Kyiv of America. It's the soul of America. We are the Tel Aviv of America. New York City is the Islamabad of America. The Zagreb of America. We are the Lima of America. New York City is Mexico City of America. This is the Dublin of America, New York City. Everyone knows that.
Classic. Don't make me pull out the crack cocaine being hidden inside a baby doll's video. Show this clip of Adams getting shit done. Oh, I love this. Obsessed with the fact that he gets nothing done in this video. Alex Press obviously is the #1 Eric Adams supporter. She's also a huge Zohran supporter as well. So I know this is really tough on her. There's only one person in New York City that is going to be conflicted at the general election, voting between the Stop Anti-Semitism tickets, Eric Adams, and the Democratic Party tickets, Zohran Mamdani. That person is Alex Press.
No. Okay, got it. So I'm going to go into a private meeting. Take care. Right. What? No.
He did nothing. Low-key shot like a Ashton Hall. Wait, isn't it odd that Fox News shits on New York City nonstop, but they're super chummy with Adams? They didn't used to be. Only after Donald Trump basically purchased him by literally fucking throwing away his DOJ investigation. And then he allowed ICE to start operating and do like black bag kidnapping operations in his city against New York State rules, mind you, and New York City rules, as a matter of fact. Did Fox News start defending him? And even then, they used to dunk on him all the time. Even with the leverage, they used to dunk on him all the time. It was more like a what is he going to do type situation.
Look at the jewelry box. A jewelry box of this nature, maybe a simple jewelry box, but if you look through it closely, you don't know what your child may be hiding. For instance, a gun. Look at picture frames and behind them, cameras.
The music is amazing.
Try to
too.
determine what's taking place. Behind a picture frame, you can find bullets. You should always, when your child brings in his popular knapsack with many different locations.
Popular knapsack with many different locations. I'm sorry. This man is fucking brilliant, dude. He said popular knapsack with many different locations. Like, that's beautiful. That's poetry.
Look through it to see what exactly is your child carrying in addition to a book. Something simple as a crack pipe. Something simple.
Go through your child's popular knapsack with many different locations, and you will find something simple like a crack pipe.
As a baby doll. Could be just a baby doll, but also it could be a place where you can secrete or hide drugs. Run your hands over the pillows and see if you feel anything that's unusual.
Why does that pillow have a tag on it?
Like a pillow like this with a button is a
it's a
perfect
button.
invitation to hide something. And I felt something bumpy. I would reach in, see what it is. Just look and see what.
It's a revolver. He did not make this as a joke, man. He didn't. This is not a joke. This is not sketch comedy. This is just him. He is that guy. Okay, 100%.
Just look and see what's inside your bookcases. It could be more than just books. Perfect place to hide cocaine. You can look in.
It's terrifying, some of the things he's saying, outside of perhaps not being in his authority.
Yes, can you hear me now? Hello? I can hear you. I can hear you fine. Can you hear me? Yes, and you're correct. When you think about his comments about law enforcement officers who they put their lives on the line all the time and every day, his comments towards them were extremely offensive. And you're
My goat.